sweeping in the Book of Revelations and the Year of the Dragon and Jerry Sargent Star Magic and the Dragon's Eye while you're meditating when you see one. And what do they all have in common?
They are archetypal symbols of the journey of humanity in processing the different personality types that are investigating fear-based beliefs, negative beliefs, and transforming them into a positive understanding and creating an evolutionary path for yourself to reclaim your true power.
Hmm. Wow, that was large.
All right, if you say so.
It was. um, how can we raise the frequency of our food? Like we can do the same thing to water. So when we say grace, should we actually be saying benevolent things about the food?
You
Because
can,
the
you can, but also remember that when you raise your own frequency, what you will be attracted to eat will be the things of higher frequency automatically.
yeah, I do understand that. And at the end of the grace or prayer, should we or should we not say the word amen? Because there's a reference that it might be praising Amen Ra, who professed to be God, but he's not all that is.
It will give whatever meaning you give to it. It actually simply means so be it.
Oh, okay. That's
So,
nice.
whatever you decide is the definition that works for you, you can say whatever you wish. It's just a permission slip. Remember that prayer, grace, is a state of appreciation for what you have in the present.
Mm,
That's all it is. A state of appreciation and gratitude for what you are and what you have right here and right now. That's all it is. That's a high vibrational frequency that will attract high vibrational frequency things in physical reality as representations of the frequency you have taken yourself to.
okay.
So it is an attitude of gratitude and thanks for who you are and what you attract as the
Uh,
lessons you need to learn in life.
Okay. Um, did I have an out of body experience when I had read a Sylvia Brown book and followed the directions? And
Yes, you have out of body experiences like everyone all the time, especially when you are asleep physically. You don't necessarily remember all of them, but by focusing yourself on certain information that had to do with it, you may have given yourself the opportunity to remember some of the out of body experience that you have had.
yeah, because coming back, I felt like I was levitating about 3 feet above my bed and slammed into my bed when I woke up.
Yes.
And then recently I woke up really suddenly because I realized I was in a black space. And if that is an out of body experience, and if that happens again, how can I relax myself and not be so scared and wake myself up?
Well, what were you afraid of?
I don't know. I just remember it was just black, and then suddenly I woke up and I knew I was in fear. But then I realized, well,
All right.
there's not.
There is nothing to be afraid of. You may have been facing the idea of what people on your planet typically call the shadow self, coming to terms with the idea of any fear based beliefs you may still be holding on to, because those things can come up when you start to increase your frequency. When you start to shift to higher dimensions, you have to let go of those things. And letting go of those things, those remnants of fear based beliefs that may exist in your physical mind, can create the idea of having to face them, having to truly understand why you're holding on to them or why you were. So increasing your frequency may put you face to face with beliefs you have to let go of.
Yes. Okay. Um, so I've had some supernatural things that happen in my life,
Yes,
and here's
I understand what you mean by that, but everything is natural, even what you
oh,
refer to as supernatural.
okay. Well, one little one is I saw, how the tuna cans they can stack up on top of each other. I
Yes.
had three of them in my cupboard, and I was about 8 feet away from my cupboard. I literally saw the tuna can jump off and land next to it. So I was like, what energy did that?
You did.
Oh, cool.
There are moments when humans will slip into a higher frequency state and recognize that they are creating, literally creating, the projection of their physical reality. And so, in that moment of unguardedness, you may have become more of your true self and demonstrated to yourself how you actually can manipulate physical reality because it's your projection anyway.
That's amazing.
So, you will give yourself these little markers from time to time to remind you that physical reality is extremely malleable, plastic, and flexible, and that you are creating it moment to moment. And that if you stop focusing so strongly on the idea of only being in physical reality, only focused on physical reality, you can from time to time see physical reality shift itself in ways that seem quite magical.
So that might be one of my gifts then that I'm not aware of.
It's a gift you all have, but it comes with the awareness that you are creating your physical reality and not being afraid to allow it to be reflective of the true way in which you are actually generating it.
Hmm, okay. I had a dream that my husband and I were walking into a venue where I was gonna perform because I'm a singer, and we're bringing the gear in, and suddenly the warehouse changes into, the place changes into a warehouse, and it's very dark, but the walls are glass, and I can look over and see the next building over, and the people are screaming and running out.
Yes,
And I'm calm. My husband is kind of sketchy, but then he realizes he can be calm because I'm calm.
yes.
Um, is was that a premonition of an unveiling?
It is the recognition of what we have called the splitting prism of different realities that are separated by analogous glass walls where you can see other realities where people may be choosing things that are not your preferred vibration, but they can't affect you because they can't get through the glass wall, even though you can see them.
Mm,
So it's a recognition that you are in your own reality
yes. Okay.
and that there
Now,
is nothing to fear by observing what other people may be choosing in their realities that is not your vibrational preference. Because you have to match their frequency in order to experience what they're experiencing.
right. Which leads me to back when I was a kid, I used to think, is the color purple to me the same color as the color purple to them? And then what
Not
I see
always.
as the shape of a human is that what they see?
Not always. It might be similar, but it may not be identical. Because again, each of you have your own reality and your own interpretation of what you are creating as an interface in order to interact with other beings, other consciousnesses. But what you are interacting with is your created interface that makes sense to you, that is relevant as a reflection to you. So it might be very similar, but it may not be identical.
Okay. And as a child, I used to be super excited about going to bed because I would always dream of floating up.
Yes. Out of body experiences.
Oh, okay, yeah, the silver cord, and it was like just felt so wonderful.
Yes, well, this is natural for all of you to do. Not all of you remember doing that, but it's something that you all definitely do when you're asleep because you're going back to your natural state, because you have calmed down the physical consciousness, the physical focus, and you can become more of yourself, which is naturally spirit, non physical. The physical
Okay.
silver cord is simply one way of interpreting the idea that you're still connected to a physical experience. You haven't severed that tie. You're not going back completely into the idea of waking up into spirit. You're still maintaining a connection to the experience of physical reality, which happens within your soul.
Kind of like the movie Avatar.
Kind of, as a simplistic analogy.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Last question. I don't know if you can answer it. Has my sister Jenny reincarnated somewhere? And if so, where and what's she doing?
Well, you understand that incarnation is multiple simultaneous carnations, not reincarnation literally in a linear sense.
Right.
Everything exists at the same time.
Yeah. So,
So that soul can be having other experiences, but it's not literally reincarnation in the way that most people on your planet mean it.
mm,
So you will always be able to contact the spirit of that being, even if they are experiencing something that to you would represent another incarnation.
right. Okay. So whether or not they're in physical form or a non-physical form, I can always contact them.
Yes, because every form always exists and every form exists at the same time. So, whatever way in which it is easiest for you to understand how to make that connection, you can use that to make that connection. And that part of the being will always be available to you, no matter what else they may be choosing to do. Because remember that spirits are multidimensional beings.
Do you happen to know what her little signs are? Like some people say pennies are feathers, but does she have a particular sign?
Well, what has occurred in your synchronicity that reminds you of her?
Hmm.
Can you remember any instance of simply going about your day and suddenly something just reminded you of her out of the blue, as you say?
Oh, for sure. Like the things that she's made me and sewing and her laughter and stuff. So,
All right. Then those things can be the signs that she may use, because the things that you remind yourself of her with are the things that she would most likely use to get in touch with you.
okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
You are welcome very much. Aveo.
Avail.